We don't need a military that's gay-friendly, with all due respect to the Air Force. We need a military that's flat-out hostile. We need a military full of type A men who want to sit on a throne of Chinese skulls. But we don't have that now. We can't even get...
He doesn't push back at all against that. He nods. He just heard another man say, we need a military that's ready to sit on a throne. Men that are ready to sit on a throne of Chinese skulls, and nods. Adios, Tucker Carlson. It has not been great. It's been terrible. Media Matters has put together, for no particular reason, a timeline of Tucker Carlson's descent into white supremacy. So if we quickly look at some of the things that he's been doing. May 2004, this was a long time ago. Carlson, I don't see that diversity is the strength of our country. 2004, Carlson apologized for calling Pat Buchanan an anti-Semite because while he may be one, not all of his ideas are crazy. Carlson on Barack Obama. How is he black, for one thing? He has at least one white parent and one black parent. Immigrants should be hot or really smart because people who come over here and pick lettuce aren't going to build a stronger country. That was in 2006. 2006, Carlson. I have zero sympathy for Iraqis because they don't use toilet paper or forks. 2007, Carlson said President Barack Obama sounds like a pothead. Carlson called the NAACP a sad joke that should be shut down. 2008, Carlson, the war in Iraq could turn around if someone like the Iraqis began to behave like human beings. 2008, Carlson said the Congressional Black Caucus exists to blame the white man for everything. And I'm happy to say that because it's true. 2008, everybody here knows that Barack Obama would still be in the Senate of Illinois if you were white. 2008, Carlson says white man deserve credit for creating civilization. This one should have been a really big tip-off. This one right here. Because this is the calling card of white supremacy. This is like, even like people in the modern era who want to try and hide behind the veil of, oh no, I'm not saying white people. I'm saying Western civilization. Big difference. So replace white people with Western civilization. And then we can maintain white supremacy and then allow some of the good ones to play along too. As long as they know their place. As long as they know their place, yes, they can be useful. They can be useful in this entire game because, yeah, obviously there's going to be a bit of a demographic shift at one point or another. So we'd like to maintain the white supremacy. So as long as we have people understanding that this is about Western civilization, it's not about white people. Big difference, huge difference. 2008, Carlson says Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. That's why it wasn't worth invading. 2010, Carlson said that when the Democrats say that then Senator Harry Reid supported civil rights, what they're saying is that he's for racial set-asides. 2010, Carlson says Obama was using racial anxiety similar to Nixon's Southern strategy for political gain, but in reverse, to ignite the black voters against the white voters. That's how that works. Cool. Carlson said that Reverend Jeremiah Wright was one story that could get Obama compromised with Wright to a grand dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. Carlson claimed the NAACP is totally discredited, and some would say pathetic. Carlson said that Phoenix, Arizona diversity program was informed by the same rationale that propped up Jim Crow for 80 years. You see, if you haven't been studying Carlson for a long time, what he's been doing for a while has been basically repackaging a lot of this white supremacist shit, doing it over and over and over. And he does it in such a way where he tries to pretend that, like, hey, by the way, I don't see race. This is not about race. You know who's obsessed with race? Black people. Yes, they're obsessed with talking about race. I don't see race. And I just want to say that this is anti-white racism. And I want to make you all very afraid at home. And again, this appeals to a mostly white seniors demographic of people who still watch Tucker. Make you all very scared, make you afraid that there's a reverse racism going on right now. Did you know that the most bigoted people, the people who have the most oppression right now happen to be MAGA wearers, people who have red hats, the MAGA wearing red hats? Yes, they are the ones who are being oppressed because times have changed, Black people got all these superpowers through the civil rights movement, and now it's white people who suffer. I'm sorry, I don't want to say suffer. They do have a superior culture. Oh, I mean, Western culture is superior. Watch our words very carefully. Carlson advocated for an older white guy appreciation day. Carlson told conspiracy theorist Alex Jones that the Obama administration was pushing Nazi politics. Carlson called the relocation of the statue of the St. Louis University and depicted Native Americans kneeling to a white missionary an act of racism. Do you see what, same thing. Over and over, the same pattern. Doesn't matter if it's happening to indigenous people as well. Well, it turns out that indigenous people are trying to make other people more aware of their plight and suffering. And so it's like, yes, by doing that, it's racist. This is basically the whole CRT thing exploding. Like, CRT which was taught for what, nearly a decade in law school, and law school, by the way, was not taught in like elementary or high schools, but taught for nearly a decade in law school, suddenly gets picked apart by all of these white supremacists like Christopher Rufo and Tucker Carlson for these reasons. Because it's like, oh yeah, but like, ugh, why are they telling us about America's racist? Like, why are they trying to say, like, no, we love America. If you say America's racist, it's reverse racism, you know? Carlson said CBS late night host Stephen Colbert was wearing a Black Lives Matter wristband, showed he's rich, famous celebrity guy who's totally out of touch. He doesn't understand what that represents. Carlson said that then candidate Donald Trump is the embodiment of the frustrations of those who were labeled racist or nativist and who have legitimate anti-immigration concerns. So the reason why this was capable of successfully igniting so much of the American electorate is because there are a lot of people, a lot of white people who have a lot of problems in America. There's a lot of poor white people. And there's a lot of poor white people who are getting fucked over in large part due to capitalism. But guess what? White supremacy, patriarchy, those can also fuck you over in ways you wouldn't expect, even as a man. Patriarchy is really, really shitty for men. So you have a huge demographic of Americans who are disillusioned with these coastal elites, who are disillusioned with all these fucking blue voters, Hillary Clinton, we don't want this kind of shit. And then someone comes along and says, hey, all those people, they're the swamp. Those are the elites. They're the swamp. They don't care about you. I do. We're going to make America great again. We're going to take it back, baby. And so that starts feeding into that. And of course, Tucker Carlson is just fucking front and center of this entire thing. Carlson says, oh, I got that one. Carlson attacked the Black and Hispanic Journalists Associations. Carlson responded, we're only in 2016, by the way, responded to NFL player Colin Kaepernick's protest against police brutality by saying, when did rich people become victims? Tucker Carlson said that it was absurd of Hillary Clinton to point out implicit racial bias. Carlson dismissed extremism by claiming that the American Nazi Party and the KKK don't exist in any meaningful way. Always downplay, always downplay. There's no such thing as racism anymore. We destroyed them. We defeated them. Carlson reflexively defended then Attorney General nominee Jeff Sessions' racist past. Carlson compared affirmative action to slavery, Jim Crow, and Japanese internment. Carlson complained that on college campuses, everybody gets a safe space except white men. Oof, when will white men get our safe space? In an interview with Univision's George Ramos, Carlson dismissed Ramos' opinion as an Hispanic American by claiming Ramos looked whiter than I am. Carlson hosted Congressman and white supremacist Steve King and defended him after King's backlash for a racial tweet. Carlson mocked the inclusion of women scientists of color in the March for Science meant for organizers, saying they hate white men more than they hate global warming.
Clean up your room.
2017, thank you so much, Kiarna. I appreciate that. While ranting about more than 350,000 migrants arriving in Europe, Carlson referred to the refugees' influx as an invasion that was changing Europe's demographics. And this is the white replacement conspiracy theory starting to peek its ugly head. Carlson stated that he was pretty sympathetic to the alt-right anti-Semite troll known online as Baked Alaska. Carlson falsely claimed that a racist Texas ID law that several courts found to be discriminatory against minority voters had nothing to do with race. Carlson took issue with the media portraying a murderer from Portland, Oregon as a white supremacist. Carlson defended Trump's Muslim ban by asserting it doesn't ban Muslims, even though it was primarily Muslim. It was all Muslim countries, wasn't it? Or was it primarily Muslim countries? Carlson lashed out after Alaska renamed Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day, calling it an attack on civilization. Now, this one got missed in a lot of the documentaries I've seen on Tucker Carlson, because they usually point towards how Tucker Carlson is very, very sneaky, and this is why white supremacists love him so much. This is why the Grand Wizard of the KKK said that he speaks for us. This is why Nick Fuentes says that he's basically Nick Fuentes on primetime, because he has very successfully replaced the idea of white supremacy and white culture with Western culture and Western civilization. But this is very telling, because he's been doing this his entire career as well, saying that anything that gives or recognition to the plight of indigenous genocide, anything that recognizes that, is an attack on the fundamental principles of white civilization, right? And it's not like, I hope people who haven't been convinced of this theory yet can understand, if you bring up the truth of our history, if you bring up the truth of our past, that's not saying that people alive today are responsible for slavery. As a white Canadian alive today, I'm not responsible for the enslavement of Black Americans hundreds of years ago. But every single person who's not willing to recognize the past and the ramifications it can have on the present is exacerbating the problem. That's the difference. Carlson claimed that the left calls Trump vulgar, even though the liberals applauded when Obama vacationed with rappers. After asking if Western civilization was superior than other cultures of Middle Eastern immigrants coming to the United States, Carlson denied ever knowing what a white nationalist means. Carlson uses the slur, I'm not going to say it, claimed that the Roma immigrants have little regard for either the law or public decency. Carlson objected to the push to remove the Confederate statues, comparing it to the extremism of the Taliban in Afghanistan, the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia, and Mao in China. Carlson attempts to minimize America's history of slavery by pointing out that the Aztecs, the Africans, and Mohammed had slaves too. This is also something that white supremacists, including Matt Walsh, have done over and over again. They do this thing where all of a sudden they try to say, well, did you know that other cultures had slavery as well? Yes, we weren't the first ones to enslave people. And when you say we, what do you mean, Tucker? That's very weird. Why are you associating yourself with a group of people who did enslavement in the past? Are you saying the modern iteration of you is this long legacy of slave owners and you're proud of that fact? And, well, you're not ashamed of it because ultimately other people did have slaves. Wasn't just the whites, you know? Carlson attacked tech companies for banning white supremacists from their platform. We're only in 2017. Carlson said NFL players hate your country because of the protests against racism or something. After the Southern Poverty Law Center released a list of Confederate monuments in the country, Carlson lashed out and accused them for threatening violence. Violence against the statues. Cool. Carlson went to bat for Gab, a social media site dubbed a haven for white nationalists. Carlson proposed a solution: California's overcrowded prison was deportation. Carlson claimed that the lesson of September 11th terror attacks, it was not all cultures are equal. Carlson claimed that striving for diversity gets you to civil war. Why would you say such a thing? Why would you say such a thing? Carlson lashed out after Representative Maxine Waters linked former chairman of Breitbart News, Steve Bannon, to racism. Carlson told a black guest he understood the struggle with racism because I'm an American. Carlson had a meltdown after a black guest pointed out Carlson couldn't understand what it was like to be brutalized by the police, accused him of playing the victim card. Carlson defended Trump from charges of racism because he says Puerto Rico is 75% white, according to the U.S. Census. Carlson dismissed Trump's birther conspiracy theories against Obama, claiming they weren't racist. Carlson cited changing European demographics and immigration to justify the rise of white nationalism. Again, I'm only in 2017 here. Like Jesus Christ. The reason this is so utterly ridiculous is because there's right now a massive meltdown going on between two camps. The Glenn Greenwalds and the Jimmy Dores. The Glenn Greenwalds and the Jimmy Dores right now are both trying to do this whole thing like, wait, why do you keep saying that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist? Why does everyone say that Tucker Carlson... Oh, you can hear that? Sapagog? Oh, wow. Okay, so that's with the AI filter on. Yeah, they're doing some wild-ass drilling downstairs, and I was like, well, I'll put the AI filter on. No one will be able to hear it. It's coming in like a mosquito. I have the NVIDIA broadcast on. Let's make sure. Got noise removal. I have noise removal on full strength, and you can still hear it. That's wild. It's audible. It sounds like a buzz. It sounds like a dentist. Wild. Well, I mean, this is all the technology I can provide. It is giving me a half a second distance between what I say and when you see it too. The volume level is very tolerable. Okay, as long as it's tolerable, because I know some people, they want nothing but perfection in their audio fidelity, so I want to try and provide that. It's just some things are out of my control, such as people drilling downstairs directly into me, so I don't know what to say. Hey, LostSIOUX, very good to see you. Everyone go to twitch.tv/LostSIOUX. This history of documented, incredibly blatant white supremacy, and there are times when, yes, most of the time he's wearing the mask, most of the time he says Judeo-Christian culture. There's other times where Tucker Carlson has let it slip and he said, hey, is it racist for me to say I don't want to grow up in a town or a country where my kids don't look like I do? Yes, that's a racist statement. That, like, if you don't see color, if you don't see race, then why would you say something like that? Because it seems like you really do see color and race, and that's important to you to see that. It's so important to you that you don't want your kids to be surrounded by different colors. You only want the one color. That's what that sounds like, you know? Okay, so as you all already know, I woke up today to some strange news. At first, when I saw Tucker Carlson was leaving Fox News, I assumed he was starting his own network or whatever, but I reread it then and realized Fox News is letting him go abruptly. Who did he kill? Good question, Juniper. Lots of people pointing out the Dominion lawsuit, but I don't know. The original 1.6 fell to 730 million. It's only like 5% of their net worth. I feel like it's not really a huge factor here, but who am I to say? We'll probably find out soon. The problem with being the most powerful troll on the left is I don't know ever if Juniper's telling the truth. So I can't use Juniper as a source in this regard. I have to go to other places, but absolutely love Juniper. Let's check out what other people are saying.
Based on the style of Japanese internet pornography, which translates roughly into English as exploding milk porn. So what's going on here? Based on the style of Japanese internet pornography, which translates roughly into English as exploding milk porn. So what's going on here?
I don't know if this gives us the full picture. Okay, this was the final Fox News show. Let's see.
That was a great segment, and I'm just grateful that you came on, and I'm especially grateful for the pie.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Employee of the week, we're just make it of the year, Tyler Morrell of Coco's Pizza. That's it for us for
I'm so happy. This is the, like, you know what, it gets even better? Like, I kid you not. Get ready for the last frame of Tucker Carlson ever.
The week. We'll be back. By the way, the entire episode of Let Them Eat Bugs.
I gotta tweet that out.
Not quite as good as pizza. Streaming now on Fox Nation. Use the promo code ORIGINALS for 30 days free.
This may
and we'll be back on Monday. In the
shot
meantime, have the best weekend with the ones that you love, and we'll see you then. We just thought, what a great way to end a week.
Yeah.
Truly, that was a great segment, and I'm just grateful that you came
yes,
on.
I'm shamelessly using it. I'm shamelessly using it to promote the stream, not because, you know, I'm particularly always shameless, but also because I don't know how long Twitter is going to be able to be used as a promotional tool for me.
Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have mutually agreed to part ways. Tucker's last show was this past Friday. And starting tonight, Fox News Tonight will air live at 8 p.m. Eastern. It will be an interim show with rotating Fox News personalities until a new host is named. We want to thank Tucker Carlson for his service to the network as a host, and prior to that, as a long-term contributor.
So that's abrupt, right? Like, we clearly have Tucker Carlson in his last moments ever, mouth full of pizza, just stuffed with pizza. I don't know if that was like an insect-based pizza that he was trying for the first time, but like that wasn't supposed to be his last moment ever on the network. Something else happened here in between the weekend. Just gonna say, it's like something else is going on, you know? Glenn Greenwald. I'm not making claims yet on what caused the separation. I'm just noting the removal of Tucker means the elimination of the only real sustained dissent on U.S. militarism. Did you hear that? Anti-U.S. imperialism, anti-U.S. military-industrial complex reporter, socialist extraordinaire Tucker Carlson is lost to us. Lost to us. Yeah. Now, I had to see if that was true, and a quick Google search reveals it might be a little complicated.
Jesse, really simple. Do you think the key to remaining competitive with the Chinese military is more gender advisors?
Oh, there's no question, Tucker. I mean, China right now and Russia, they're both testing hypersonic missiles that can turn New York City to ash. Russia is actually developing and has developed satellites that can push our satellites out of orbit and completely cripple our military. Our military, though, they're focused on the important things. We want to focus on climate change, and we definitely have to make sure there are enough tampons in the restrooms at the Pentagon.
Uh-oh. Didn't even get to the good part here. Elon, your site is such fucking garbage, by the way. It was bad before, but holy shit, is it wild now.
Where there's a massive real threat that you can't deal with, so you scurry off and deal with imaginary threats to make yourself feel in control. That kind of feels like what we're watching.
Well, he just described his entire show. Tucker just described the Tucker Carlson show perfectly. I'm going to clip that and upload it later.
What we're watching is the destruction of the U.S. military, and what we're going to end up seeing, Tucker, is thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of Americans die. Those are the stakes of the game we're playing here. We don't need a military that's woman-friendly. We don't need a military that's gay-friendly, with all due respect to the Air Force. We need a military that's flat-out hostile. We need a military full of...
Elon, you're taking all of the punchlines away from me right now, Elon, okay? He was just about to say a military that's sitting on a throne of Chinese skulls. And that's a very fucked up and extreme thing to say. That's a very warmongering thing to say. A warmongering thing to say that is frightening, and also not the thing that someone who is against the U.S. military industrial complex or U.S. fucking... I hate you, Elon. I hate you. God damn it. I had a point and I was ready to go. That's such an extreme statement. Here, thank you. Thank you. YouTube.
Those are the stakes of the game we're playing here. We don't need a military that's woman-friendly. We don't need a military that's gay-friendly, with all due respect to the Air Force. We need a military that's flat-out hostile. We need a military full of type A men who want to sit on a throne of Chinese skulls. But we don't have that now. We can't even get...
He doesn't push back at all against that. He nods. He just heard another man say, we need a military that's ready to sit on a throne. Men that are ready to sit on a throne of Chinese skulls, and nods. Glenn Greenwald, you absolute and utter fraud and hack. That's so deeply embarrassing. And by the way, this is just one of the more recent ones, right? Because right now it's kind of like in vogue for right-wingers to be like, oh, we're actually all anti-war, always has been. And it's like, what? What? How was Tucker Carlson's coverage of some of the other conflicts that are going on in America? Say, like, the conflicts when America was straight up, I don't know, Donald Trump striking generals in Iran? Kind of a little provocation, if you call them, like, what if another country, another sovereign nation, fired a missile and just murdered a U.S. general on U.S. soil? Wouldn't you think that was kind of a provocation to war? And how did Tucker Carlson cover that? Was Tucker Carlson like, oh, well, as a anti-war, definitely always has been, you know, I do hate some war in the U.S. military-industrial complex. I'm against this. Not a huge fan of this, you know? Not a huge fan of this. Oh, yes, he's an everything political puppy. I don't think you can find a phobia that Tucker Carlson is not deeply entrenched in. Transphobia, homophobia, you name. Oh, I forgot Jimmy blocked me first. He shot first. He fired first. I can't see his... So I also found out, because I'd never blocked anyone, if you block someone first, you're still able to see their tweets. That's so cruel. I didn't know that. So every person who's blocked me can also be like, but I can click on this little button here and then check out what the Serfs are saying. That's why people block first. Now I get it. It all makes sense. Well, I can't see Jimmy's cope, so you'll have to... Oh wait, Winston, you sent me some good copes. Hold on. Aaron Matei. He also accurately covered and challenged the dirty war on Syria, including the OPCW's Duma cover-up scandal, unlike everyone else on cable TV and almost all of the leftist media. You clowns. So now there are 0 people telling the truth about the Ukraine or war in general on TV news. 0! Again, these people are advocating for U.S. military personnel to sit on the throne of Chinese skulls. Oh, Jackson. End of an era. Sad to see Tucker Carlson has left Fox News. He was the only news host who dared to tell the truth about the deep state's proxy wars, regime change operations, and deranged culture wars. Tucker crushed the ratings and spoke the truth. For that, he was canned. Tucker Carlson wasn't fired because of the Dominion lawsuit because he wasn't implicated. Fox News found a way to get rid of him because of his stance on the Ukraine war is my first guess. Yes, the only person on Fox News who is critical of the U.S. military support in Ukraine. He's the only one. Like the rest of Fox News, 24/7, they don't talk about it, but then on comes Tucker, the truth sayer. Oh, yeah, I saw that 0. I don't know if I want to go with this just yet because that is not a link to an article. It's just a link to a person who's paying for a blue check mark. And as you know, I've got the blue check marks blocked. So when it's in a news article, send it to me and I will look it over. Alejandro Caiballo, exactly 1 year ago, Tucker Carlson went after me for helping to get libs of TikTok suspended on Twitter. Today he's gone. Bye, Felicia.
Many servants in the news media set to work. The neoliberal slander machine Media Matters published 4 separate hit pieces on libs of TikTok in just the past 3 weeks. It was trafficking hate for allowing liberals to talk about themselves. It was anti-gay. As if the site was attacking anyone. Certainly it was not attacking gays. It was just playing tape of people talking about themselves in the...
Tucker was a liability, end of story. Okay, so I've got I got the LA Times article, which does talk about the Rupert Murdoch angle. Yeah, I got that one already. Thanks, Zero. I got that one, and I got the Washington Post story as well. Both of them look at this from a financial angle. If it turns out that's true, that's so fucking bad on Fox News. Because, like, just wrap your head around this. It wasn't the racism, it wasn't the sexism, it wasn't the homophobia, it wasn't the transphobia, it wasn't the white supremacist conspiracy theories, it wasn't the white genocide conspiracy theories, it wasn't the anti-vax shit, it wasn't the obsession with fucking candy, it wasn't the obsession with fucking every single one of the M&Ms, you know, you name it, none of that. It was like, you talk shit about the higher-ups, and then you got caught for talking shit about the higher-ups. That's what did it. Because that one, like, I don't know if I want to believe that. I feel like something else is afoot.
Their own words.
It's always the money. Yeah, it could be as simple as that.
Well, Twitter
it's always the money.
Could not stand this. They shut down the account entirely twice. They suspended it. One of those suspensions came after a complaint from a Harvard law instructor called Alejandra Caraballo. Quote, "My report on libs of TikTok violating Twitter rules got them suspended," he bragged. Yet the woman who runs libs of TikTok kept going. So ultimately, Jeff's many servants.
That's wild. That's wild. Great day. Great day.
Racism. Diversity isn't our strength. Unity is our strength. That's the definition of racism.
Remember, English is not an official language of the United States, Tucker. We're
Well, I
not
know,
at
and
that place where we say
one of
you can
our-
only speak English here.
That's one of our core weaknesses, that it's not the official language. Well, that's pure racism, of course. It's the very definition of racism. This country would become poorer, dirtier, impossible to manage. It would be flooded with the poor of the world. That is literally the definition of racism. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided. I think you'd agree that meets the definition of racism. Why does nobody, I totally get that, and I actually hate litter, which is one of the reasons I'm so against illegal immigration. That would, of course, be described as racism. Latin American countries are changing election outcomes here by forcing demographic change on this country at a rate that American voters consistently say they don't want. It's the textbook definition of racism, no matter what the race is. When can we say enough? When are we allowed to say that's too many? There can't be too many of any group. So maybe too many people came over the border and the state is totally overpopulated, and you're dealing with the normal problems that come with overpopulation, like really expensive housing prices, no? What we're actually seeing is relentless dishonesty from the very people who are paid to inform us.
Tucker Carlson, the top-rated Fox News host, is leaving the network. The abrupt departure of the controversial primetime figure comes after a week of Fox News reached the $787.5 million settlement of the Dominion voting systems over the network's promotion of former President Donald Trump's false 2020 election. The bombshell settlement, the biggest media payout in history, prompted many to question if Rupert Murdoch would make major changes to the network. Carlson found himself embroiled in a serious controversy throughout this time. In Fox News, in recent weeks, a lawsuit from former booker at the network, Abby Grossberg, accused Carlson's staff of making anti-Semitic jokes, liberal use of the word and casual misogyny. Wait, I can say this, right? Can I? I can't remember. Is this against TOS? There's so many rules these days. And casual misogyny. By the way, Tucker Carlson has had not one, but two verified white supremacists working on his staff at one point or another. Like, for every single person who's still, like, confused about this, who's still, like, it doesn't matter how many clips you play, it doesn't matter how many things you show, it doesn't matter how many times you're like, yeah, Tucker Carlson is straight up a white supremacist. He also has avowed white supremacists who were working for him, who were on the staff, who were part of the, like, they're inside the building. Inside, you know?
Massive breaking news out of Fox News as
he put
Tucker
this together
Carlson
so fast.
is out. They have parted ways, and it is unclear about what sparked this, though I'm going to speculate on
of course they
what
will,
happened
Carolina.
here, and I'll also speculate.
Yeah, they were, thank you, Kali She-Devil. They were writers on the show. They were writers. White supremacists were the ones holding the pens and be like, haha. It's like, what do you need? Your scribes, the people who inscribed the scripts are white supremacists, avowed. Man, I feel like I had been gaslit to strange proportions, seen some strange corners of the left try and defend Tucker Carlson over and over and over. When Glenn Greenwald was being questioned multiple times by different people, being like, by the way, Glenn, could you at least answer for the fact that you go on the show all the time? And the guy, I mean, the Grand Wizard of the KKK loves this dude. Nick Fuentes says that Tucker Carlson is Nick Fuentes on television. He's spreading the white supremacist, like, fucking white genocide conspiracy theory, or the Great Replacement conspiracy. It depends on what night it is. He calls immigrants like dirty, vile, like all this kind of shit. He's constantly lying about crime statistics, lying about the statistics of Black Americans and the crimes they commit as well. Like, so much of this should be not just alarm bells. Like, these aren't whistles. There are no dog whistles. These are sirens. This is a fucking nuclear explosion of dog sounds. Okay.
On where Tucker may go next. A few options there. First, I'm still digesting how big this news is, because Tucker Carlson, in case you don't know, is the one of the primetime hosts at Fox News, is the most popular, most watched cable news host and holds massive sway over the conservative base. So wherever he goes, it's very likely a lot of his viewership, a lot of those voters are going to follow him. But let's first show you. Let me show you the announcement here from Fox News themselves, saying Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson part ways. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. His last program was on Friday, so no more Tucker shows. He never got to say bye. He's just out.
Yeah,
Fox
see, that's the reason why I failed. Like, so the Dominion lawsuit results and the discovery and the publication of everything that we know about it, that's been out for a while. That's why for everyone saying that this is 100% just because of the Dominion lawsuit, could be, but this seems like one hell of a way to do it. Like, Tucker Carlson, for worse or for worse, on Fox News is still a fucking institution. So for Fox News to just straight up do this about their own fucking, their guy...
Will air live at 8 p.m. starting this evening as an interim show with a rotating cast and nothing else here. Just a bunch of Fox News mumbo jumbo. So he is out. Now, the network made the announcement. This is an important piece. Less than a week after it agreed to pay $787.5 million in a defamation lawsuit in which Mr. Carlson's show, one of the highest rated on Fox, figured prominently for its role in spreading misinformation after the 2020 election. So I've already covered that lawsuit. But essentially, he was one of the main reasons why Fox had to pay this amount of money. I'm sure that's part of the reason why they're doing this now. But I also don't necessarily think this hurts Tucker Carlson. Of course, it's very early. We have no idea what the actual impact's going to be. But Tucker now has the ability to go out and say, well, I was too hot for Fox. I told too much truth, even though he didn't. He just lied continuously. But I told too much truth. It was too much for Fox to handle. So he can use that as a grifting mechanism in wherever he goes next, whatever he does next. Now, initially, I remember that he launched the Daily Caller, which is its own media website, but
I'm just catching up on all the links you sent me because I'm trying to go through them all, and holy shit. Jimmy Dore. No one else in all of corporate news ever brings on anti-war voices. The ones that did just got axed. Doesn't matter that he's the most watched show in all of news. I wish there was a way to show people this and hide this part first and be like, click to reveal. Click to reveal. Doesn't matter that he's the most watched show in all of news, much like the MSNBC fired Phil Donahue for his anti-war coverage when it had the #1 show on the network. And don't forget, by the way, my friends, don't forget that fucking Jimmy Dore was not too long ago praising Donald Trump, doing a fucking Donald Trump like, yeah, speaking power to the system, look at him, he refuses to be guilty and all this kind of stuff. It's like, what, is Donald Trump an anti-war person as well? Did you know he dropped more drones than Obama? Did you know that, Jimmy? Did you know that? Did you know that he did a fucking missile strike on a general of another sovereign nation? The kind of things that can provoke war. You're kind of lucky it's the United States and no one wants to go to war with the US. That's kind of the saving grace and all that. Doesn't mean it's not fucking warmongering as shit. Holy fuck.
Did end up selling his stake in that in 2020.
Market sensitive.
So that's not going to be an option for him. So he doesn't have the Daily Caller anymore. But there's also a big hole at the Daily Wire since the offer with Steven Crowder fell through. I think Tucker may like their offer if it goes to him. So there's always a possibility there. Or there's the possibility Tucker's big enough where he could just do it himself, right? Like, he doesn't need anybody else. He can just launch his own thing, do his own YouTube show.
Clean up your room.
Or whatever show, Rumble show, and he'll be
Hello, lovely
fine.
scientists.
So
Thank
sure
you for this year one. I appreciate it.
Flooding in for various right-wing entities to try and grab him, whether it's the Daily Wire, whether it's Rumble. But ultimately, he has the ability to kind of do whatever he wants to do himself without needing anybody else. But that also goes to another possibility. Tucker Carlson for president.
Oh, by the way, someone sent me this, and I've already done it, so you don't get to see it. It was Dave. Dave sends me this, and so this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s post. Fox fires Tucker Carlson 5 days after he crosses the red line by acknowledging that a TV network pushed a deadly and ineffective vaccine to please their pharma advisors. Carlson, breathtakingly courageous April 19th monologue broke TV's two biggest rules. Tucker told the truth about the greedy pharma advertisers, controlled TV news content, and lambasted obsequious newscasters for promoting jabs when they knew they were lethal and worthless. For many years, Tucker blah, 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 blah. The only reason this was of note, this tweet, and I'll share it with you all now, if you have tweet blocker, oh my. I think this one tops Elon Musk's for like how many blue check marks I just saw evaporate, and that's why he sent it to me. I'll send you like a screenshot. I captured the moment. It was a fucking massacre. An absolute blue checkmark massacre. Yeah, here it is happening in real time. It was just like, like if you have the plugin, have fun with this one. This one in particular had so many check marks, just being like, Robert F. Kennedy used to guy. I can't impersonate them. I have no idea what they said because I had the pleasure of just watching them evaporate before me. It was incredible. The blue blocker for Chrome. I forgot what the Firefox one. Maybe it's the same one. Yeah. I can't block Binder because I've got it set to anyone I follow. I don't block. So blue check marks who I follow, it won't block them automatically. But everyone else, like Tucker Carlson, for example, gets blocked. And by the way, everyone is saying, because Tucker Carlson used to have they, them in the corner, and now it's like she, hers, and they're like, oh, it's because Tucker was hacked. Is it because Tucker was hacked? Or because, like, I think he's just being an asshole. I was like, that explains that more than anything.
So this has been speculated several times. This is Politico back in, I think, 2020 again, saying the GOP is buzzing. The Fox News host ratings have gone gangbusters, and many Republicans think he'd be a force in a Republican primary. Now, I don't know if this next election is the one, because Trump's in there. He's going to have to compete with Trump. And I got to say, if that is a primary, that would be an actual competition. Trump versus Tucker Carlson, I think, would actually...
Wait, are we hating Binder? No, we love Binder. This is a pro-Binder stream. Fight.
But I think it's more likely that Tucker tries something in the next election cycle in 2028. So who knows on this front? But it wouldn't be surprising to see Tucker come out and be like, yeah, I was too much of a truth teller for Fox, but here's what's happening in America. I'm running for you. And, you know, his bunch of garbage that he spreads. So that has a contingent of people that are going to be attracted to that. It's the similar voting base that likes Trump, which is why I think it's more likely he would wait this out, knowing Trump is likely going to lose a general in 2024. But on that point, just to show you that there is more weight behind this than just the idea of him running, he actually was in Iowa just last year. So Tucker Carlson's appearance in Iowa on Friday, back in July, looked like a presidential run, walked like a presidential run, and quacked like a presidential run, but was most certainly not a presidential run, at least as far as anyone knows. The Fox News host was the keynote speaker at the Family Leadership Summit, a gathering of more than 1,800 religious conservatives in Des Moines, Iowa, which every 4 years is the first state to have a say in picking the Republican presidential nominee. So it's the same place that Trump's gone to, the same place that every single person goes to when they're running for president. Tucker went there. So again, this may just be kind of testing the waters, getting sort of the the gears running for the idea of doing this kind of thing in the future. It doesn't mean he's necessarily doing it this time, but I would not rule this out. Tucker Carlson is still young in terms of presidential potential candidates, so it wouldn't be shocking to see him do this sometime in the future. But I'm still digesting the idea that Tucker is no longer at Fox. This is, I think, in the short term, beneficial for society as a whole, but in the long term, I don't think it really makes a difference. Tucker's going to find his audience, and this will likely potentially lead him to running for even more power if he tries to run for president.
This is true. Los Angeles Times is saying that he was pushed out. Tucker Carlson, the provocative conservative primetime host who helped build Fox News into a ratings juggernaut, has been forced out of the network. Fox News announced the stunning departure of its top-rated host Monday with no explanation, but people familiar with the situation who were not authorized to comment publicly said the decision to fire Carlson came straight from Fox Corp. Chairman Rupert Murdoch, with input from the board members and other Fox core executives. Carlson's last show was on Friday. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host prior to that contributor. Fox News representative has no other details on Carlson's exit and declined to comment. Murdoch elevated Carlson from contributor to daily host status in 2016. Carlson's exit is related to the discrimination lawsuit filed by Abby Grossberg, producer fired by the network last month, the sources say. Carlson's senior executive, Justin Wells, has also been terminated, according to insiders. Grossberg has moved off the Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo and on to Tucker Carlson Tonight, where she alleged that she was bullied and subjected to anti-Semitic comments, according to a lawsuit in New York. In a deposition Monday, the former Fox News producer also said she was coerced by the company lawyers to give misleading answers in the Dominion defamation case against the network. Fox News denied the claim and said she was terminated for disclosing privileged company information. In a statement, attorneys for Grossberg suggested her suit has a key factor in Carlson's exit. Tucker Carlson's departure from Fox News is in part an admission of the systemic lying, bullying, and conspiracy mongering claimed by our client, former top producer Abby Grossberg. Mr. Carlson and his subordinates remain individuals defendants in the Southern District of New York case, and we look forward to taking their deposition under oath in the very near term. Murdoch was also said to be concerned about Carlson's coverage on the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, in which the host promoted the conspiracy theory that it was provoked by government agents. Carlson has called Ray Epps, a Texas man who participated in storming the Capitol but did not enter the building, an FBI plant without presenting any evidence. Epps was interviewed Sunday on 60 Minutes and said he has been subjected to death threats as a result of Carlson's statements about him. The FBI told 60 Minutes that Epps has never worked for the agency. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy sparked a backlash amongst Democrats and others when he granted exclusive access to thousands of hours of surveillance footage from the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol to Carlson. Carlson's ouster was not part of the $787.5 million settlement Fox News agreed to pay Dominion Voting Systems last week. However, some of the comments of Carlson made about Fox News management in communications that turned up in the discovery process for the case may have played a role. May have played a role. Sure, you could have pissed off the higher ups a little bit, but I think the other part of this article is a lot like that has a lot more teeth to me than, because we knew about this. We've known about this for a while. So this isn't brand new by any means. Trying to take attention away from the Proud Boy guy. Why? That part I'm not entirely sure. Carlson was by far the most popular individual at Fox News. He was also brought controversy to the network on a regular basis. Blah blah blah. Carlson's departure. Yeah. Yeah, this also happened just out of nowhere. And honestly, I don't have much to say about this because we, at the very start of the stream, we watched the clip. Maybe I still have it in the background. Okay, I'll quickly play this. Oh, no, that's not the clip. That's still Glenn Greenwald. If you have it, chat, you can link it to me again. It seems like Don Lemon, and this is the conspiracy theory that's going on right now, may have been let go for something entirely different. It could be related to him actually doing a journalism and have a discussion, but David has a video out on it already. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I could... Of course he does. Of course he does. David's working right now. Me and David are both working, but I'm working live in front of you all, and David's right now just behind he's just doing this thing in front of the thing, probably wearing a Canadian tuxedo. I don't know. Does he do a costume change when he does 2 videos in the same day? He's a busy guy. Don Lemon. And this is just... It's just the weirdest way to do this. Why did you go on MS Paint? Why would you do that? Why would you open MS Paint and then be like, all right, well, I should let the world know about this? Just have a statement drafted up by your lawyers. You're very well paid and compensated, I was informed this morning by my agent that I have been terminated by CNN. I am stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work that I've loved at the network. It is also clear that there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I've worked with for an incredible run. They are the most talented journalists in the business, and I wish them all the best. If he was genuinely fired for the thing that he was fired for, that's disgraceful. It doesn't surprise me because CNN has been doing this pivot to the right, but it's a discussion with someone else, a politician, in which he's trying to defend the fact that yes, America is still a racist country. Black people in America are still not having the same equality of opportunity that white people are in America, and there's a variety of reasons. And no, racism did not end with the end of the Civil War, and the plight of Black Americans did not end with the end of the Civil War. If that's why he got fired, then that's fucking wow. You are nothing more than a fucking husk of an institution parading around as a news agency. That's it, Maybe Don still sacrificed so he could join Tucker's new venture. I saw that as well. Fox is going to have to replace a white guy wearing a white hood not to lose his audience. I mean, there's so many other people. People are like, who's going to replace Tucker? I was like, another Fox News host? Because there's a lot of shitty ones. Oh, thank you, John the Jones.
Tier 2 subscription.
I appreciate that so much. That's so nice of you.
The interesting thing that I have is you have a responsibility to the public discourse, and you
need to get
fail
a job at a journalism
miserably.
school, I think.
You need to go to one. The thing that
But you can see, like, he's such a privileged little white baby, you know, like he's just like, Tucker Carlson has literally lived with the silver Swanson spoon, not just any silver spoon, but the silver Swanson spoon up in his grill all the time. He's just been spread that sweet, sweet rich people's porridge. And so like right now it's like, what are you doing? You know, why are you making fun of me? What's going on?
I want to say is, when you have people on for just knee-jerk, reactionary talk.
Wait, I thought you were going to be funny. Come on, be funny.
No, I'm not going to be your monkey. Go ahead. I watch your show every day.
By the way, that's like the reason this is so like unbelievably epic. That's his own audience. That's people who came to see Crossfire. Like maybe they knew that he was about to be a guest star. I don't know. I don't know how much advance notice they had of the guest of the day, but they came to see Crossfire and they're sitting there and people who are fans of Crossfire are like, it's like Tucker's bombing, like it's near radio silence. A couple like awkwardly because you don't want to be that one person like, oh god. And then obviously Stewart is just crushing it because he is like on the fly. He's an infinitely funnier comedian than Tucker Carlson could ever hope to be.
Missing their opportunities, evading their responsibilities.
If I think they are.
Look, I wouldn't want to eat with you, man. That's horrible.
I know, and you won't. But the thing is,
Yeah, what a classic. Well, I don't know what's left to do. Or maybe we should play some music. Hey, the Daily Caller's still around, though. Still got the Daily Caller. He's still gonna have a whole media empire. It's not over. It's far from over. He could run for president. Y'all aren't ready for the whole presidential shit. He could still run for president. Still think that could happen. Just gonna say that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel like we've had a lot of crowd dances lately. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Adios, Tucker Carlson. It has not been great. It's been terrible. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free. Just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojack, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.